Wild Peak is Derbyshire Wildlife Trust's rewilding initiative for the Peak District. The Peak District is a severely degraded landscape, and in response to the climate and biodiversity crisis, it's crucial that we restore nature. We want to do that following a nature-led approach, so the Lawton principles of more, bigger, better and joined up. But we face a sort of a unique issue that the Peak District is incredibly fragmented in land ownership. There's thousands of individual landowners of various different types. There's a lot of farms, there's estate, individual landowners, private landowners too. So what we're trying to do is support all individuals to deliver nature on their own land, and then we can work to sort of connect not just the wild spaces but also the people and their communities, so that we're delivering a holistic response to the nature crisis.
So moorlands are these fabulous, big, open, wide landscapes that have unique habitats and wildlife within them. They're really enjoyed by so many visitors, especially through recreation, walking, running, hiking. They're really important for local businesses as well in the area, and support the local economy. And our understanding, particularly on how they're adapting nature for climate change, is increasing as well. So what makes up our moorlands is a variety of habitats. We've got big blanket bogs that up on the sort of bigger plateaus over the moorlands. I think most people would automatically sort of think of those areas. That's where all your bog mosses are. Open pools, it's always kind of misty and raining. And then as we come down in sort of drier areas, we've got more of the shrub-like species. So dwarf shrubs like heather and bilberry and crowberry. And it's a good moorland to have all these different habitats interspersed and linked, different mosaics, different patterns all the way through. So not just those types of habitats, but also grasslands. We get acidic grasslands, and they often have wet flushes associated with those as well, and different sorts of wild flowers then will come in. And then importantly as well, on the fringes we have our upland woodlands and clough woodlands. So we've got things like sessile oak and birch, which are really important and dwindling habitats in their own right as well.
So rewilding is about letting natural processes reinstate, so that nature is managing itself. In the past, we've managed most of our land, including our nature reserves, with sort of heavy, intensive management, and that is because we have lost or had massive decreases in populations of a lot of our native species. For example, the hen harrier, beavers, lots of iconic species, the osprey and so on. And so what we're trying to do is see where we can reinstate natural processes, whether that's bringing back large cows or ponies to deliver natural grazing, whether that's bringing back a better balance of predatory birds, or looking at what used to be here and allowing nature to deliver restoration rather than having intensive human input.
With these different habitats that make up the whole of the moorlands, you also get, with all the different plants and invertebrates, they support so many birds in particular. So from the smaller birds we have like skylarks, which are really quite cheery singing birds. We've got the undulating flights of meadow pipits. We've got we can hear willow warblers now singing on the edge of the woodlands. And then we get more of our wader specialists in the moorlands too, so curlew, golden plover, and not to forget our mammals as well, and our reptiles, common lizards and adders, mountain hares. They're really important species that are quite unique to moorland landscapes. So we have some really good areas of moorland, but we also have some areas that are struggling and degrading. These in turn can be result in erosion and a faster runoff, which affects flooding further down in the catchment. Yeah, so if we've got a thriving ecosystem on the moorland and we've got a keystone species like hen harriers, they're like at the top of the ecosystem, so it's a good indication that everything below that is also in good condition and thriving as well alongside. And so hen harriers need good places to nest and a good food source. So that's small birds and small mammals, and if they're in the habitats of the moorland and they're thriving, then so too will hen harriers. There's a knock-on effect all the way through the ecosystems.
The Wild Peak programme is working with a real sort of people and community focus. We want to deliver large-scale, landscape-scale nature restoration, and in order to do so we need the landowners to be working alongside us, and we need them to be supported and connected with their communities, because this is going to be a very changing landscape if we're going to deliver what's right for nature. Some of our initial projects are looking at taking members of the Wild Peak network, so we have a network of about 60 landowners, just under 2,000 hectares of land, and we're supporting them with initial habitat interventions from woodland and wetland creation, moorland restoration, whatever it might be to kickstart those natural processes, wilder grazing regimes. And the idea is that by doing this, we're sort of kick-starting natural processes to allow rewilding to deliver nature restoration over the years and in perpetuity. Our goal is to restore ecosystem function in the Peak District for the people that live here, for the wildlife and for the cities surrounding. We want to deliver a nature-based economy that can support people and communities to manage space for nature and to deliver for wildlife. The timeline to that, we've just started a large-scale project which is looking at about 2,000 hectares of land and delivering 1,010 hectares of habitat interventions within that. It's also looking at accessing the private finance markets to support landowners with an alternative funding mechanism so that they continue managing their land. And it's also looking at supporting already engaged community groups to amplify their work, to grow them in size and resilience and connect them better with wild spaces in their area. And so this is very much the start of the Wild Peak programme in action. We want to see significant improvements in community engagement and public understanding of what nature looks like, what nature recovery looks like by 2030. But we're looking at much longer scale work from this consultation around what species and habitat should be here, right to delivering that over the next 30 years or so.